Kai was a skinny boy born in a world where at one point races like demons, goddesses, and mythical beasts existed and always warred against one another. In one of these deadly wars, known as the Great War, humanity ended up winning thanks to a legendary hero named Sid who sealed all the other races into a graveyard so that they could never threaten peace or human existence. Kai works in an agency whose sole job is to keep an eye on these graveyards, but one day he ends up getting changed when he finds himself in a world where humanity ends up losing the Great War, because the legendary hero was never born, so dragons and demons rule the world now. Even before the history changed itself, Kai took his job very seriously, and while his co-workers wasted their time, he used to stare at the sacred graveyard where all the other races were sealed. After observing the sight, he walks back to the truck where the spiky-haired boy named Ash tells him to chill out sometimes as the races are sealed for hundreds of years and not even one has ever escaped the site. Kai still looks seriously and tells him that it's their job to make sure that never happens, as it could lead to death and destruction all over the world. Ash still takes it as a joke, while the cute girl named Saki tells him not to take them back to the base. Back at the agency, Kai immediately heads into training, while Ash gets his ass handed to him. Kai takes his stance against a mythical dragon while a warning plays on a speaker claiming that using mythical beast replicas for training is only permitted for Ash ranking officers. Kai completely ignores this and dodges the dragon's attack, before running around it to land a solid punch on its legs. Unfortunately, this wasn't good enough, and the dragon gets ready to destroy Kai, who takes a defensive posture. But Saki closes the program, shutting the dragon down. She tells him to take it easy and not to overdo the training, but Kai tells her that he wants to be strong enough to be able to stand his ground against the leaders of the different races. Saki tells him that it's impossible, and thankfully they will never have to face them thanks to the legendary hero sealing them. She then tells both of them to get ready for their friend Jen's promotion party. Jen is still only 17, but has been promoted to the rank of an officer at the headquarters, making her the elite among elites. Suddenly Kai gets a text from Jen who tells her to meet her alone the next morning, which makes Saki think that they are in a relationship, but Kai denies it. The next morning, he meets up with the beautiful white-haired Jen, who seems confused to see Kai dressed in full gear even though it's their day off. He claims that he came here straight from training, and they both set out for a shopping date. After spending some time together, Kai remembers how during childhood he visited the graveyard, and he had a vision of seeing monsters and the sword of the legendary hero. Suddenly, he snaps back to reality, wondering why he remembered that when he notices the world around him warping. He gets worried and calls out to Jen, who doesn't seem to be able to notice anything wrong, when suddenly a voice announces that the timeline is being overwritten. At the very next moment, Kai finds himself at the same place, but in a completely destroyed city. He looks around utterly confused, only seeing death and destruction as far as his eyes could see. Suddenly, he hears a sound and turns around to see a giant monster emerging from behind a building. Kai couldn't believe his eyes as he witnesses a huge black demon immediately create two magic circles that shoot a bunch of ethereal spheres at him. Kai reacts quickly thanks to his training and dodges the attack, which breaks his briefcase, revealing his weapon. The demon immediately charges another flurry of attacks, but Kai jumps to his feet and immediately runs towards his weapon, quickly loading it with bullets. Both the demon and Kai shoot at each other, but to the demon's surprise, Kai's bullets end up nullifying his magic. The demon isn't done yet though and tries to trick Kai by creating an explosion magic beneath him, but Kai notices that and immediately dodges away while running towards the demon as he loads his gun. He dodges the demon's attack before jumping in the air to deliver a strong strike, but the demon's skin is too thick, and the blade doesn't do damage. Thankfully, he had a plan B and immediately shoots the demon at point-blank range, which completely destroys the demon as Kai jumps away. He drops to the ground breathing hard, but seems happy at the fact that his training came in clutch and saved his life. Before he could find a place to hide though, he senses something behind him and turns around only to see another giant black demon hovering in the air as he asks Kai whether he killed a demon. Kai confidently points his sword towards him and claims that he did slay the monster, at which the demon gets angry, telling him that a slave should know its place. He immediately charges a powerful magic blast, but before he could attack, someone throws a flashbang, blinding the demon while Kai gets dragged into a familiar-looking truck, which rushes off immediately. Kai is a little shaken up, but he realizes that his saviors are none other than his friends Saki and Ash. Unfortunately for him, neither of them seems to recognize Kai, as Saki claims that she has never seen him before. This fills Kai with a feeling of dread as he wonders whether everyone has forgotten about him. He tries to make them remember their time at the agency together, but Saki claims that there is no such agency in this world, and they are the soldiers for the resistance. Kai is utterly confused about this, but Saki explains that they are the forces of the human rebel army, which was created after humanity lost the Great War against the other races 30 years ago. Ash claims that ever since then the other races have taken over the entire world, while the humans are barely surviving by running and hiding from one place to another. While walking down into a subway, Ash tells Kai that this city is currently controlled by the demons, but battles between the other races occur frequently for territory and resources. Kai realizes that he is truly in a post-apocalyptic alternate reality world and wonders whether he will ever go back to his own world and meet Jen. After walking for a while, Saki flips a switch and suddenly a barricaded door slowly opens, revealing a new human city that they have built underground, which looks pretty identical to the city in his old world. Saki and Ash seem pretty chill about the humans being on the brink of extinction, but something is not sitting right with Kai, and he asks why humans lost the Great War. Saki and Ash look at him a little surprised, but explain that the other races attack them in groups, completely decimating their lines, as almost all of them are physically more powerful than the humans. Moreover, each of the races has an incredibly strong leader that takes command of their armies and plans the attacks. Kai asks pretty plainly about what happened to the legendary hero Sid, but to his absolute surprise, neither Saki nor Ash seem to know who he is. Kai tells them frantically that Sid is supposed to be the human hero who defeats all the other races and seals them, but Ash laughs, claiming if that were true, they wouldn't be living in subways right now. Suddenly, he hears some commotion and Sai drags him outside as she claims that their Lord Commander and the savior of humanity has arrived from her expedition to another city. To Kai's absolute surprise, the commander turns to be Jen, who walks up to them as both Saki and Ash salute. Saki tells her that there are no abnormalities on the surface, but Jen suddenly looks at Kai and asks who this person is, as she has never seen him before. This hurts Kai the most, who loved Jen with all his heart, while Saki tells her that they found him alone on the surface, claiming that his memory seems to be fuzzy as he doesn't remember anything about this world. Jen tells them to keep an eye on him and moves past him without so much as looking at him. Finally, Kai breaks his silence and stops her, telling her that they were literally shopping together at the mall on a date mere moments ago, and asks how can she forget him. Jen turns around and coldly tells him that she has no idea who he is, and he must be mistaking her for someone else before turning around. This breaks him as he starts walking towards her, shouting that she promised to become the highest officer in the agency to prove to her dad that she is a strong woman. But before he could touch her, a pink-haired officer named Fal grabs his hand. Jen tells her to let him go and starts moving away again. Ash and Saki grab Kai and tell him to rest for the day, as he seems to be a bit confused. That night, he reads the history of this world, confirming that the legendary hero Sid was never born in this world. He starts turning the pages when he gets shocked to see the graveyard sites still there. He wonders why the sites would be there if humanity never won the war. The next morning, he asks this question to Ash, who replies that he has no idea what site he is talking about. So Kai takes the keys of the truck from him and goes on a reconnaissance mission of his own. He stops the truck just before the graveyard site and enters inside to find the main door open. He proceeds to walk in further when he is shocked to see the legendary sword of Sid the hero embedded in the ground right in front of him. He walks up to the glowing blade and grabs its handle before pulling it out. Immediately, the blade starts glowing even more brightly, and a light beam hit one of the walls that open into a different realm, where he is immediately transported. He opens his eyes to find himself in a mysteriously white area with nothing in sight. He suddenly hears someone asking for help, so he follows the voice only to spot a young woman tied to a pillar with a bunch of chains. To his surprise, the woman seems to be a weird hybrid between an angel and a demon, while she looks at him with sad eyes brimming with tears and asks him to free her from the chains. He walks towards her with his sword out carefully, while the girl looks at him once again and asks for help. She introduces herself as Rin and pleads with him to free her from these shackles, as they are sapping her life energy and killing her. He thinks about it for a minute, but decides to help her regardless as he tries to slash at the shackles. To his surprise, there is not even a scratch on the chains from his sword, so he decides to shoot his problems away like a true American. But even that strategy fails. He wonders whether his weapon is not strong enough, and wonders whether the golden sword of the hero could have slashed the chains. Suddenly his sword starts glowing and changes into the legendary sword of Sid the hero, covered in a golden glow. He walks up to the shackles once again, and without any hesitation, strikes the chain, but the sword is so strong that it severs the entire pillar in half alongside the chain. The girl falls limply to the ground, but Kai catches her in his arms softly, checking whether she is okay. But the moment she opens her eyes, she immediately flies away to a distance and starts shouting someone's name, claiming that she hasn't lost yet, and won't fall for tricks if she sends a low-rank demon to her. Kai looks completely confused, but Rin looks at him and immediately shoots a magic blast at him, which he barely dodges. He realizes that this girl is not playing around and is really strong, but before he can ask her to chill out, she charges a really strong magical blast and shoots it at Kai, with the intent to finish him off. Kai stands there shocked to see such a powerful magic coming his way, realizing that he doesn't even have the time to dodge this attack. He wonders whether this is the end for him, but decides to keep trying and slashes at the blast with his new sword. To Rin's surprise, the slash cuts the magic blast in half cleanly, nullifying her spell. She stops in awe, and asks how can such a lowly demon command such powerful nullifying magic, but Kai tells her that he is not a demon but a human. He turns around to show that he doesn't have any demonic wings or tail. This calms her a bit, as she apologizes to him for the attack, and claims that she has a grudge against the demons. Kai walks up and asks which race does she belong to, as she doesn't look like a pure angel as well. She looks down, and claims that she doesn't want to answer that question, as she is insecure about it, so he drops it. He asks whether she has any idea where they are currently, but she claims that she was fighting with the leader of the demons called Vanessa, when she ended up imprisoning her here. Kai is shocked at this, and asks how can she fight against the strongest demons so casually, but Rin happily pumps her chest, claiming that she is strong enough to defeat the army of demons all alone. She then looks at the broken ground behind him, and points out that even Kai must be really strong as he managed not only to evade her attacks, but split it in two. He tells her that it's probably just because of his sword, but before he could speak any further, he notices a portal opening behind Rin as a weird claw emerges from the dark circle. The weird demon-looking thing starts spouting some gibberish nonsense before attacking Rin, who is saved by Kai as he pushes her away to safety. The demon pursues them with her claw, but Kai and Rin manage to evade her attacks once again as they watch in horror while the large pillar collapses into dust. They both start running away in the opposite direction when Kai looks back and notices that the demon created a magic portal and pushes her claw in it, which emerges right behind them and grabs Rin in the air while she screams. Rin tries to struggle free of the grip, but she is not strong enough, while some exploding magic circles appear around her, ready to finish her off. Kai watches in horror and wonders why is he unable to move when he wants to save her so bad. Suddenly, he realizes that he has the legendary sword and collects all his courage before jumping towards Rin as he slashes the demonic claw in half. This slash of his is so strong that it also slashes through the reality that they were in, and while the demon is shocked to see the legendary sword in Kai's hand, both Rin and him manage to jump through the small hole and come back to the real world. He looks dazed at his sword, which doesn't look like the legendary sword anymore. But before he could even process what happened, Rin immediately jumps on him in a warm hug. He realizes that she must have been terrified as she thanks him for saving her life, claiming that this is the first time anyone has ever done something nice for her. She claims that she never really belonged to any of the races, and all of them declined taking her in their clan, but the demons were the worst, as they heavily discriminated and were always cruel. That was the reason why she got into a fight with the leader of the demons. Hearing this, Kai hugs her back as he realizes that they are not so different after all, because just like her, even he doesn't belong in this world, and even his closest friends don't remember anything about his existence. He tells her that in his timeline, the humans won the Great War and controlled the city while the remaining races were sealed under huge pyramids. Unfortunately, in this timeline, that history seems to be lost as demons control the human cities. This seems to be news for Rin as she claims that humans were winning the war, while the demons were worried because they thought a hero has arrived. Kai immediately grabs her asking whether she is talking about the legendary hero Sid, but she has no idea about it. Soon they head out of the pyramids, but the moment they are completely safe, Rin collapses on the ground from exhaustion. Kai realizes that she must be really tired and starts supporting her as they walk. He tells her that he will take her back to the human city, but she seems a bit apprehensive as she doesn't trust anyone apart from Kai. He reassures her that everything would be fine and promises that he will leave with her if she doesn't like it in the city. Later that night, Kai lies down on his bed completely exhausted as he remembers how scared she was at every road bump and caused such a ruckus. Thankfully, she was able to hide her wings before entering the city, but was still sticking out like a sore thumb as she kept hiding behind him. At one point, she was about to use magic in the middle of the city because she thought one of the humans was about to attack, even though he was just saying hello. He then remembers the eventful day and was about to try and change his sword into the golden blade once again when Rin rushes out of the bathroom claiming that she saw a cockroach. Afterwards, she told him that she always took bath under chilly waterfalls and used to get sick, but humans have amazing warm water to bath. She jumps on the bed happily while Kai tells her that he thinks both of them are from an alternate reality where the Great War was won by the humans thanks to the hero Sid. She asks whether they can ever go back to that reality again, but Kai doesn't really have an answer to this, so they decide to sleep. Kai dozes off at the side of Rin's bed with his sword in hand, when he is woken up by a scared-looking Rin who tells him that she can sense demons in the area. She turns out to be right as soon alarms start blaring throughout the city as the demons break through their barriers and enter the underground city. They run outside to find demons already in the city creating havoc while innocent people run in all directions trying to save themselves. Rin holds on to Kai out of fear while he tells her that he must do something and act like the hero Sid. Otherwise, there is no hope for humanity in this world. On the other end, Ash, Saki, and the others are trying to suppress the demons with their guns. But it is not working at all, so Ash tells Saki to get the big guns. The demons, however, are hot on her trails as one of them swoops in to finish her off. But just before it can attack, Kai jumps ahead and slashes the demon's head, saving Saki's life. He immediately tells her to get some water, claiming that these stone demons become too heavy to fly when covered in water. Suddenly, he notices that one of the demons were using their spell on Ash, turning him into stone, but Kai immediately shoots the magic circle, deactivating it and saving Ash's life. The demons immediately regroup and turn their attention towards Kai as one of them rushes at him and grabs his sword, while the other comes from behind. Kai manages to dodge the attack as he slips past them and pushes them together, while Rin, who is standing atop a building, uses her strong magic blast to incapacitate them. He praises her for her quick action, while Ash and Saki run towards him asking how the hell is he fighting against the demons so confidently and efficiently. Kai replies that he belongs to a world where humans won the war, so he has been training against dummy demons all his life and knows how to handle them. Saki is very impressed and asks Kai to accompany them to the headquarters to plan the defense, and Kai agrees. They all go in an armored vehicle through the ruins of the main city to reach the headquarters where high-ranking officers alongside Jen craft military strategies. Kai is presented in front of them and immediately talks about his reality, but the other board members treat this as a joke, telling him to stop fooling around at such delicate times. Thankfully, Jen seems more receptive and asks what kind of relationship do they have in his reality, as he called out to her very familiarly before. Kai replies that they were colleagues and childhood best friends who always had each other's back. He also mentions how she used to talk about her grandfather, which strikes a chord with her, and she dismisses them immediately. Later that night, while Rin was having fun on her fluffy bed, Kai answers a knock on the door, only to find the pink-haired feminist assistant of Jen, who tells him to follow her. Both Kai and Rin follow her into a room where they find Jen, who looks much more calm and receptive as she claims that she believes him since she hasn't talked about her grandfather with anyone in this world. She tells him that she plans an all-out defense after coordinating with the 5 remaining human cities and push back the demon invaders. Kai realizes that she wants to fight to the bitter end, but Rin objects, claiming that even if they repel the first wave of demons, they will just keep sending more, and at one point the leader of the demons might appear herself and blast the entire city. Jen seems aware of this as she looks down sadly when Kai speaks up, claiming that they should attack the demons instead. Jen looks at him shocked, but he claims that they should simply focus on defeating their leader Vanessa, who alone is more stronger than all the demons combined. He claims that him and Rin together might be able to do that, but they will need Jen's forces to try and lure away the remaining demons so that Kai can focus all his efforts on the demon queen Vanessa. They immediately put their plans in motion as Kai assembles his team, including only 4 members. He himself would lead the offensive against Vanessa alongside Rin, Ash, and Saki. They drive through the city, while Saki shudders at the thought of having to face the leader of the demon army by themselves and asks why she was chosen, considering that she is neither the strongest nor the fastest soldier. Rin pats her head, assuring her that since she is Kai's friend, she will make sure to keep her safe as any friend of Kai's is her friend as well. Rin takes some solace from this, while Kai tells her that the reason why he chose Ash and her is because he trusts them with his life. Ash smiles at him, claiming that Vanessa is going to be really strong, but Rin claims that she is super strong as well, and the only person who can match her strength is the Demon Queen herself. Saki looks at her and asks what will happen if she gets overpowered by Vanessa, but Rin replies that she will immediately self-destruct, making sure that Vanessa dies with her. Saki hugs her and makes her promise not to do anything like that. Meanwhile, Ash asks Kai whether the demons will spot them as they are moving in a decent-sized group, but Kai replies that demons are only sensitive to the presence of magic, and since humans don't have any magic, they can't really sense them. Soon they all reach the area where the entire offensive unit has been assembled as Jen gives them a pep talk about how they need to take control of their lives and fight back against the oppression caused by the demons. The soldiers are super motivated, hearing that their leader will be fighting with them, and they immediately launch the largest attack on the demons. The moment they leave the underground tunnels, they spot a huge number of demons just surveying the area and flying around, looking for any enemies. The huge horde of human soldiers definitely shocks them a little as they are taken aback, but try to fight back. The humans remain unfazed as they rush at the demons ready to sacrifice their lives. When one of the demons tries to use ice magic and block their path, Kai immediately recognizes the pattern and shoots at the demon, disrupting his next attack before jamming his sword in the demon's chest and shooting an explosive bullet, blasting the demon into pieces. Before he could celebrate, he looks above to see a huge number of demons emerging from the magic portals, while the humans try to lay suppressing fire at them. Kai immediately points his gun at the sky and uses a special bullet that creates a lightning chain strike which hits all the demons at once, incapacitating them as they fall to the ground, unconscious. The humans around him look at him dumbfounded, asking how he dealt with all of them so easily. Kai replies that it's because of the modern technology that he had in his world and turns towards Rin asking whether she can sense more demons. Rin points at the top right tower, claiming that she can feel a very strong presence which should no doubt be the Demon Queen Vanessa herself. Jen immediately takes action and assigns different jobs to the troops, as she claims that Kai will head out to deal with the Demon Queen while they have to make sure that no demon enters the building or in the vicinity to create any unseen hurdles for them. She positions the troop all around the building and in the staircases while the remaining troops head up the stairs. Jen looks at Kai, claiming whether he still thinks he can take Vanessa in a one-on-one match, and Kai nods in affirmation. The remaining soldiers quickly start looking for any hidden demons when Rin points at a small, weird-looking demon who is trying to summon a large demon. Unfortunately, they are too late to stop him, and a giant Cyclops emerges from the magic portal and immediately starts wreaking havoc. He grabs one of the soldiers in his huge arms and would have crushed him to death if not for Phelan's quick action as she jumps in the air and slashes the demon's hand, releasing the soldier from its grip. She tells the remaining soldier to move forward as she can easily deal with such a lowly demon all alone. So Jen follows the orders and heads up as they slowly try to free the prisoners still hiding in the tower. They enter another room led by Jen when suddenly a trap springs into action and she is hit by a huge lightning magic, which scares the crap out of everyone. By the time the smoke disperses though, they realize that Jen is completely unharmed as she has magic resistance in her armor, and tells Kai and his party to move ahead while she and the remaining soldier deal with this huge monster on their own. Kai bids her good luck and runs ahead to the next hallway where they all wear a magic band created by Rin which hides them from the demons, but Kai tells Rin not to reveal that she is the one who made it, because then everyone will know that she is not a human. They start walking when suddenly a huge monster appears in front of them. This scares the crap out of Saki who takes out her gun, but Rin puts her arm on the gun, motioning her to stay silent, as they are currently invisible to the monster. Saki sweats out of fear, but thankfully the bands work and the monster simply passes by them without ever noticing anyone's presence. Finally, they find the main server room where Saki and Ash stand by waiting for Kai's orders to cut the lights out in case they need to evacuate in the darkness. Kai and Rin walk forward when they enter a room only to find it filled with a bunch of high-ranked demons. The head of the group welcomes them to the building, claiming that Vanessa is most intrigued at this suicidal action by the humans, while Kai tells him that she won't be very happy when his sword cuts her to pieces. The demon immediately starts charging their magic blasts while Kai gets ready to deal with them. But Rin immediately grabs him and starts flying before throwing him towards the entrance of the next hallway. She tells him to move on and starts creating an ice barrier to make sure no demon could chase him. She assures him that she can easily deal with these insects and will follow him soon. So Kai moves on while Rin faces off against the remaining demons with all her magic circles. Kai finally reaches the main throne room where he finds the demon queen comfortably seated as she claims that she is surprised that the humans are keeping up with her demons. On the floor below, Jen fights against the giant demon with the help of the others, but the demon seems to be pretty strong as it grabs her sword and flings her away before completely burning her with his flame blast. Thankfully, because of her armor, she stays unharmed and immediately converts her sword into a bow and arrow and shoots it at the demon, completely destroying it. She falls down to the ground breathing hard, while the severed head of the demon tells her that no matter how hard they try, the humans will never be able to win against them. Jen simply walks over and stabs the head with her sword, claiming that they will win no matter what. Suddenly another portal appears behind her with even more demons trying to ambush, but thankfully Phelan appears in time and strikes the demon, blasting it into the wall, saving Jen's life. The demon dog doesn't take much time to recover as he walks up to them again as Phelan and Jen get ready for battle. Back in the throne room, Vanessa seems very intrigued at the fact that Kai is standing so fearlessly and asks whether he is the leader of the humans. He claims that the leader is someone else, as he is simply an outsider from a different world where the Great War is a thing in history and humans rule the world. Vanessa laughs, claiming that no such world exists, and Kai must be dreaming. But Kai claims that an alternate reality does exist where that's true. She looks at him and asks which race ends up defeating the demons, and to her surprise and amusement, Kai replies that humans defeat the demons. She starts laughing even more, claiming that humans are the weakest amongst all races and there is no way any human can defeat her. Kai looks at her and claims that she was defeated by the great hero Sid with his legendary sword. This seems to shake her a bit, as she grabs her head and mutters some weird prophecy before coming back to her senses, claiming that playtime is over as she creates a magic circle. Before she could activate her magic though, Kai shoots at her magic circle, nullifying it completely, which shocks her as she has never seen this before. Before she could even react, Kai is on top of her and stabs her in the chest. But it turns out to be simply an illusion as the real Vanessa appears behind him and attacks, while Kai manages to block the blow but is blasted away. Vanessa starts flying and creates a huge magic circle with boiling flames inside before shooting it at Kai, who manages to dodge it just in time as the blast completely obliterates an entire section of the building. Vanessa seems a bit shaken, but decides to use her trump card and covers the entire ground beneath Kai into a magic circle, which explodes with a huge bang, shaking the core of the building. But to her surprise, Kai again escaped unharmed with a golden sword in his hand. Before she could react though, she gets attacked by Rin, who finally arrives after dealing with the demons below and taking quite a few injuries in the process. Vanessa remains unharmed though as she decides to finish both of them off. But suddenly a magic portal appears behind her and she gets captured by some weird tentacles, while the same weird robot that attacked Kai and Rin appears out of another portal and attacks Vanessa. Kai was confused but thought that there is no way Vanessa could escape this, but he was mistaken as the demon queen breaks through the shackles and grabs the robot's head before using all her might in a single massive attack, completely obliterating half the city. To her surprise, the robot is still functioning somehow, but is damaged enough that it returns back to the portal. Kai is shocked to see the strength of the demon queen and wonders how Rin fought against her, but Rin herself looks utterly shocked as she tells Kai that she is scared, because the Vanessa that she fought in her world was nowhere as strong as this. Vanessa finally turns her attention towards Kai and Rin and tells them to get ready as she is going to send them both to hell. Rin is extremely scared, trying to figure a way out of this mess, while Kai looks at her unable to understand what's happening here. Rin decides that the only way Kai could escape this with his life is if she sacrifices her life, so she immediately rushes towards Vanessa, while Kai screams at her to stop. She ignores him completely and tackles Vanessa before using a magical barrier to cover both herself and Vanessa. She shouts at Kai to run away, but Vanessa simply smirks, claiming that Rin must be the biggest idiot in the world to think this frail barrier would stop her. She breaks it easily, and the explosion blasts poor Rin away as she falls to the ground barely conscious. Vanessa decides to finish her off and creates a magic circle, but Kai shouts at her to stop and starts running at her full speed with his legendary sword. Vanessa simply turns her attention towards him and blasts him away with her explosion magic just as easily, throwing him into a wall as he starts bleeding from all over his body. Rin weakly looks at Kai only to see him bloody from head to toe and completely unconscious and tries to call him. Vanessa makes fun of her, claiming that the boy is already dead and asks whether Rin will now run away like a coward or try to take revenge with her pathetically weak body. To her surprise, Rin actually manages to stand up and a dark aura surrounds her. Her wounds start healing on their own, which shocks Vanessa, but Rin turns around with a huge burst of energy, shouting Vanessa's name with grief and rage. Vanessa realizes that Rin is some freak mixture of all the races on Earth, as she starts growing claws and starts looking more like a demonic beast. Before she could even say anything, Rin rushes in and lands a massive punch, which actually hurts Vanessa. But Rin doesn't stop there, and keeps landing a barrage of punches one after the other. Before the Demon Queen could get overwhelmed though, she manages to grab one of her punches and starts telling her that if she tried this hard from the beginning, she could have actually saved her boy toy. Rin immediately tries to punch with her other arm, but Vanessa grabs that as well, and starts gaslighting her into thinking that Kai's death is completely her fault, and she didn't try her best because she was scared of revealing her true monstrous self to him. Vanessa smiles, thinking that her trick is working, but it suddenly backfires when Rin decides that there is nothing worth living anymore, and grabs Vanessa's arm, claiming that they both should die together as well. She uses a special curse on both of them, which makes them start bleeding from all over the body, and Rin claims that they both will slowly bleed to death. Vanessa looked scared at first, but then her face turns blank as Rin realizes that something is wrong. She falls to the ground, wondering how Vanessa still has her strength. But then she realizes that Vanessa has covered herself with protective spells to ward against curses from other races. Vanessa commends her for lasting this long, but claims that she is an abomination of several races that should never have existed in this world in the first place. She raises her arm and shoots a fire blast at Rin point blank to finish her suffering, but to her surprise, Rin is saved at the last moment by Kai. Vanessa can't believe that Kai is still alive, as no human should be able to survive her magic blast at such a close range. But Kai claims that his sword took the direct hit, which is why his life was spared. Vanessa is triggered by the fact that this low-level trash survived her spell and starts calling humans a bunch of losers, as every other races have leaders who are incredibly strong and worthy to be called heroes. But humans have no real powerful leader who could be called a hero and match their strength. Kai tells her that they might not have a hero, but what they have is the spirit of humanity, which helps them fight even after the odds are stacked so high against them. He tells her that he will become the hero of humanity if the need arises, and challenges her to a duel. Vanessa is angered by this and uses her dark magic to summon an entire meteor upon them. But Kai immediately uses his aerial sword strikes to slash through them, destroying her magic completely. She immediately starts collecting all her mana for a huge attack. But right then Ash turns off the power supply in the building. Vanessa realizes that Kai is a human with no magic, so she can't sense him in the dark. But she can still see the faint glow of his sword and attacks in that direction. To her surprise, it turns out to be Rin holding the sword, who easily blocks the magic while Kai appears behind Vanessa, and remembers the intense training he underwent every single day which led up to this moment. She elbows her in the back, while Rin throws the sword at him, and before Vanessa could regain her balance, he bids her farewell and slashes her in half. Vanessa falls to her knees, slowly withering away, but instead of cursing Rin and Kai, she seemed weirdly at peace when she starts remembering something. She remembers the name Sid, and memories come back to her. She tells Kai that the hero Sid predicted that someone is going to alter the course of history and called it world reincarnation. To prevent that from happening, he put his sword down in the pyramids under her protection, but she lost her memories after the timelines got altered. Kai looks at her utterly confused and claims that Sid and her should be enemies, so why would he trust her? And Vanessa claims that they indeed fought a couple of times, but there is a deeper power binding them all, and she had to ask help from Sid in order to save the world. Kai still doesn't understand what she is talking about, but Vanessa tells him to find the person who altered the timelines and claims that it must be one of the other heroes. After that, she slowly disintegrates into dust, wishing Kai good luck and telling him to save the world. Kai is completely exhausted both physically and mentally as he falls to his knees wondering what the hell is happening in this world. Rin tells him to calm down and congratulates him on his achievement as he just did the impossible and defeated the leader of all demons. The news spreads like wildfire through the human settlements and everyone rejoices at their first major victory while the soldiers injured during the battle rest easy, knowing that their sacrifices were not wasted and humanity is now one step closer to realizing their dream. Rin and Kai stand atop the tower while the first rays of the morning sun hit the destroyed city as they wonder whether it will ever look like what it did before the war. Rin tells him that she would love to go back to a time where humans won the war because this world is very scary for her. Kai promises to make everything right when Jen and Phelan arrive at the top of the tower, congratulating Kai on this huge achievement as they could have never even dreamed of destroying the formidable demon queen on their own. She tells him that now that they have removed the threat of demons from this area, the city above ground can be reconstructed to its former glory, and humans can start living like free people instead of second-class citizens and slaves. Kai asks whether she will be overseeing the construction, but Jen claims that the city got destroyed before she was born, so she has never actually seen what it looked at. Because of that, she will leave the task to the senior members of the board who have seen the city when it glowed in the sunlight beautifully. She claims that she has other plans as there are 3 other regions in the world that are currently controlled by 3 other races while humans are being persecuted heavily. According to her, each of these regions have a small rebel group fighting against these races to ensure the safety and freedom of their people, and she is going to help them by starting a much larger operation to kick these races out of the region. She asks Kai if he could join them as without him, they would have very little chance against the heroes and leaders of these races that are extremely strong and smart. Kai looks at her and smiles, claiming that the Jen he knew in his world was more childish and fun-loving than her. This makes Jen blush, but Kai walks up to her and shakes her hand, claiming that he will definitely fight alongside them to try and win this war once and for all. Later that afternoon, Jen addresses all the human soldiers and congratulates them for winning the battle against the demons, but tells them that they have yet to win the entire war to ensure their safety once and for all. The humans seem to be in much better spirits at the back of their victory and promise to give their heart and lives for the sake of humanity. Kai listens to all this from afar alongside Rin and tells her that since in this world, Sid was never born to save humanity as its hero, he himself will take up the mantle and make sure they find the culprit responsible for altering the timelines and reverse everything back to like it was before. If you liked this video, make sure to subscribe and check out this brand new anime about the human born in a world of beast men where she gets discriminated but decides to become the greatest demon slayer.